Live. We're live. Yeah. Evening, everyone. How are we all? Welcome to another episode. We have got a fantastic panel of guests here. Obviously, we've got Ashley. Please don't kill me if I get your name wrong. Uh, I'm gonna, I'm gonna guess it. Ashley Small.
Very close. Smell. It's male with the S. So, smell.
Right. Okay. We've also got Stephen Nicholas Moff. How are you?
Perfect. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. We got our lovely Andrea. How are you? She's experiencing a little bit
She
of
might be
trouble.
muted.
A minute. Andrea, can you hear us? Don't think she can.
Might want to send her a text. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. While we wait for Andrea. Right. Okay. Okay. And Michael, how are you?
I'm good. Good today.
Brilliant, brilliant. So obviously we are live on everywhere. So if anyone, please do share this, and yeah, let's kick ass as usual. I will promote my drawings at some point because I am selling them. So if anyone's interested, please do get in touch. Today we're going to be discussing surviving and thriving. So obviously, I know you're all new here, so welcome. But I think because I am a gentleman, I think we're going to start with women first, ladies first. So Ashley, welcome. Please tell us like your experience with your vulnerability.
So let me tell you guys my story a little bit so you understand. When I was 17 years old, I was in a very bad car accident. I slammed into a tree and had a traumatic brain injury and was in a coma for 3 weeks. And then I was in ICU for 1 month and did extensive rehab for like 6 months. And then I did inpatient rehab for like 6 months. Then I did outpatient rehab for like a couple of years. And then every day is rehab. I I really had to learn how to accept my new self because I used to not talk like this. Like now I have a little slur, and I walk like completely different than how I used to be. I used to do all these sports, but not saying that I can't. But it's very impossible, like impossible for me to do it now. Um, yeah, so that's a little bit, and I obviously my mental health was affected because I had a traumatic brain injury, so it has been a roller coaster of like ups and downs and getting frustrated to learning how to deal with it to to graduating high school because I was still a senior in high school, and then learning just how to because my memory got all messed up. Learning how to like learn to remember things like repetition, writing stuff down, talking about it, anything like verbally or anything. And then yeah, that anything I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Well, obviously, this is an open discussion, so anyone can ask questions or whatever. Welcome, Annette. How are you
Hi,
all the way
everyone.
from Canada?
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm supposed to have sorry, I'm popping on because I was supposed to have a client come at 2 and she hasn't messaged me she's on her way yet, so I thought I'd drop in.
Why not? Why not? So yeah. So Stephen, I know you're new as well. So tell us a little bit about your story of how you was vulnerable and how you like doing what you're doing.
Well, it. I suppose I should start with I had traumatic head injury as a 1-year-old, and it wasn't as serious as Ashley's, and I'm grateful that you're still here with us. And
Thank you.
mhm. and I had fallen out of a high chair, and I had it fractured my then what was my skull. Uh, a hematoma, spinal fluid leaked out, and all this stuff. But other than that, as I was growing up, it was what I thought was a normal childhood, but I had a very abusive father, emotionally and physically. And he it wasn't like this was 24/7, but he had a very volatile temper. And there was the emotional abuse, I think, took more of a toll, but he was physically, he ruled with a iron hand, so to speak. And he had brutalized my mother. I witnessed it one time. And when I got a little older, I took quite an interest in alcohol and marijuana when I was 12 to 13 years old. And when I entered the service, I was in the Navy, and I had a breakdown, a depression, manic kind of thing going on. I abused alcohol and drugs for quite a few years, and I guess at this point, I'd written a book and shared my experiences to let other people they know they were never alone, and that's pretty much the summary of my story.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And welcome, Leanne, in the comments. I actually spoke with her yesterday on Zoom. She's going to be coming on to show at some point in the year. But yeah, Michael, I'm going to pick on you now.
Okay.
So, go on.
Yeah. What did you want my story as
It's
well,
same
or
question. It is. It's same question. Same question.
okay? Um, it's I'm always amazed at kind of how we can find the little pieces of ourselves in other people's stories. Um, my story has I'm just going to concentrate on like two really low points in my life. I grew up in a large family, and um, there was a lot of childhood trauma in my early existence, and not to blame my parents, but they just didn't have the tools necessary to create a loving, fostering household. That's the easiest way to put it. So I grew up with a lot of fear, a bit of depression, all the kind of things that go along with childhood trauma. And the way that I dealt with that is alcohol. So um, through my early adulthood into my 20s, I was a pretty big drinker, and it helped me in a lot of situations until it didn't. That's the way that addiction goes. It's like you start off using it as a tool to help, and it turns against you. So that was one of the real low points in my life, where the alcohol had taken over, and I was at a point where I had basically completely lost myself in the addiction, to the point where if I looked in the mirror, I never saw a face. There wasn't a person looking back. So if I was combing my hair, I would see hair. If I was brushing my teeth, I would see teeth. There was never a person there. Luckily, I got some help, and I got sober, and have lived my life sober ever since. Go along several years in my life, even though I was sober and things were going along, all of that trauma was still there. So the second low point that I want to concentrate on is kind of when I hit sort of midlife type stuff, and all of that trauma surfaced because I wasn't able to deal with the life that I had created for myself. You know, I was starting to get successful, but I had no idea what successful was supposed to mean. I was, you know, I had a good job, I had a family, but again, I had no reference for what a loving family was supposed to look like. So I was getting all of these mixed messages inside and went into like a really deep depression because it was that midlife crisis kind of point. And it was problematic in that I was trying to do all the right things as I knew them, but I had no idea what the right things were. So I was basically just existing, going through, you know, the day to day. I would get up, I would go to work, I would come home, watch a little TV, go to bed, get up, go to work. It was the same thing every single day. Nothing really had meaning. Nothing really had any kind of enrichment in my life. And it affected everything that I was dealing with. So going through that, and I call this my universal wake up call. Somehow the universe said, you need to get help. You're not going to do it on your own. So we're going to push you to it. And we had like a horrible year in our family. This is pre-COVID. So this is like 15 years ago, 17 years ago. We had 15 people pass away in the same year between good friends, family, distant relatives, whatever. But they're like every 3 weeks we were getting a phone call. So that was my universal wake up call. It's like, okay, you want help? You're not going to get help on your own. Let me kick you in the head, is what the universe said to me. So that led me into getting some help, getting into a sort of personal development track in my life. And so that is actually what led me into coaching, which is what I do now to help people go through all of that mess that I've already been through. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And hi, Brandy. I know I did just send you the link on Instagram. So because it's not streaming on Instagram for some reason, don't know why. But yeah, Annette, thank you for hopping on briefly. I hope you're doing well. I know we've had back-to-back chats about trying to boost your confidence a little bit. But yeah, give us a little bit of a backstory of who you are and how you come to realization that you are a good person and you're loving yourself.
Thanks, Adam. Thank you for sharing, Stephen and Michael. I'm sorry so much, Ashley. I missed your story. Maybe we can connect another time, or I'll catch up on it during our conversations. You have your hand up. You want to say? Oh, you're on mute, Ashley.
She is muted, but she did actually say she wants to be on People's Show.
Oh, great.
So if you would like to me to I'll put my documentary in the chat so that you could view it and like see my whole story. But it's only like 6 minutes long, but it's a good one.
Okay.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead. And then
No
after she speaks, I would like to ask Stephen and Michael something.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So, my background is I had generational, I grew up with generational incest. So I was abused by every male in my family. And I spun out, not knowingly, into a very abusive relationship with my husband. Then I had a very traumatic experience by losing my children, not by physically losing them, but separation for over 20 years. And then I got into a very dysfunctional sociopath relationship with a platonic business partner who basically took me for all the vulnerability of my mental health issues and used me for 14 years to carry him, financially support him, and I was addicted to promiscuous behavior and food, and I had a lot of eating disorders. And I finally spiraled out in 2010 while I was going through 12-step programs. I was in Al-Anon and Overeaters Anonymous. And I finally had a spiritual awakening, which brought me forefront to the journey of a very long, tedious self-recovery work and therapy and homelessness and you name it, I experienced it. I hit several rock bottoms, kept getting into very dysfunctional relationships because I was very deeply codependent. And this all, finally, I woke up one day and said, I had to take responsibility for my life. I had to live with the consequences of everything I'd done and stop fearing. And that catapulted me to an amazing journey of self-healing, self-love. My company is all about self-love. It's all about love, kindness, and compassion. I mentor people on that. I am a published artist, author of a line of products and services which are all about love, kindness, and compassion, because learning to love myself was the key to my survival. And I am today happily reunited with my 3 adult children. And I have an amazing relationship with an amazing man. And I have more financial success. I'm not where I want to be today, but, you know, I'm slowly grasping the fact that I have to be in this for the long haul, because I'm back in therapy now to deal with more codependency issues that have cropped up. But I love where I'm at. I love every experience I've had in life, the good and the bad, because it's made me a complete warrior for not only mental health, but spiritual health. And I survived everything, I know, because I have a greater purpose in life. And I also do what's called intuitive spiritual readings, which are to help people manifest their dreams. But it's not like, talking to dead loved ones or, predicting your future. I help people through my readings, my mindfulness art sessions, and my mentoring. It's all about self-involvement. It's all about growing and expanding and evolving into and getting out of that mindset and those deep, deep, deep beliefs that I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not confident. All those things, that incest and all the abuse that was done to me has made me so strong. And I absolutely love my life now. And so what if I have to dabble back into counseling or therapy? It's a good thing, because I always say a breakdown is a breakthrough. And that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. I thought I'd share that statement with you all.
If you survive the war that you battle with yourself, you can. Yeah, very, very true.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, and I didn't mention that my show, I do have a show on the mental health warriors, because I'm the mental wellness warrior. But I've taken a hiatus because I'm going through a lot of shifting with my family and with my living. And so I will be back. I hopefully will have a show this 18th on the 7 stigmas around mental illness.
Yeah,
I would love to be a part of that.
Okay, you're welcome, Ashley. I would love to have you.
I will connect you both.
Okay. Adam, it won't let me get into the chat, so can you send my YouTube link in the chat? But that isn't even the correct stuff anymore.
Yeah. I'll do that now. Let me just. Obviously, Ashley, you talk to Stephen and Michael about what you were going to talk about while I do this.
Okay, thank you. Steven, you
Yeah.
said you're an author, right? I
I'm
would
sorry?
love to write a book about my story and my journey and how I got to where I am today, but I don't know how to or where to start.
Good question. That was quite a road for me. I had some help with it. I had a mentor. Um, it's a matter of finding someone. You can even have a ghostwriter, if you don't feel your skills are up to writing the book yourself. But looking on the internet for someone such as a ghostwriter to help you out, or the best way to start it is to for me, I kept notes.
Yeah.
I kept journals over the years and kept them with me. And the least seemingly important thing, I wrote everything down as much as I could. Not everything, but as the best I could. And having an outline ready, even for yourself, if you write an outline, start with your family and go through just a summary of your life, maybe 2-3 pages, or whatever it works out to be. And that's a starting point. And you may find once you do that you may want to go on further. And then once you have that outline, then you begin a series of I don't know what you call it, but
stories and branches and
stories. Yeah, exactly. You're beginning from when you were born, or actually even going back into your family history, what it was like. And I'm sure Annette would understand that, going back in family history to figure things out, put it on paper and see it makes it a lot more
understandable.
Yeah. And it was quite a learning curve for me, because I had to, going on Amazon. I started with Amazon. Now I've got a Kirkus review. I've got there's Reedsy gave me a good review. I had the reviews that I had on Amazon were great. However, I did change the title. It was called Time to Go, and I changed it because some people thought it was end of life issues. Time to Go, and so I don't know if it was a good move to change it to It's an Inside Job, Kid, and that came from an old man with a lot of wisdom. I used that title for something he said to me, but I got good reviews, but I can't use those reviews on the new title, which is unfortunate, because that would really have helped get my book out there. So right now I'm kind of suffering, but I had to learn how to use Kindle and how to use the software to create your book. And my mentor had got me hooked up with someone who kind of helped me a little bit, but most of it I did by trial and error. And it's a long process, but it's worth it. I turned out a good book, and in my mind and my thoughts, I think it's a good book. And I had hired a professional editor that helped me along with that. So that's kind of where it was for me. I mean, if you can write me and whatever, if you have any questions, be happy to answer whatever I can.
Okay. Are you a friend of Adam's on Facebook?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh.
But I will do that if it's okay with Adam. So
no, I did actually send you a friend request today, though, Stephen.
And I will message you that way.
Stephen, I did send you a friend request today. Obviously, I don't know if you go on Facebook or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That would be great.
Hold on.
I hope I answered your question, Ashley.
You answered it completely, and it made me realize, because there's some things that I could insert into the book that I really don't speak about, like the childhood trauma and stuff, and how I had a pretty raw, not rough, but broken childhood. I moved out of my house into my grandma's at 13 for a reason that I actually can Annette shared it. She had like incest in her family, and something happened to me in like with incest, and yeah. So I could go into that, and then I could go on to my how I went to a bunch of high schools, and like everything's starting to kind of come together because like hearing what everybody's talked about is like making sense, like how like everything happens for a reason. In other words,
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Michael. And now I was gonna ask you if I could be on your show or whatnot.
Sure. We'll connect offline and set up a date.
Okay. Same with you, Stefan. Stephen, I don't know if you said you had a show, and I want to be on the next show. So there we go. Everybody, I want to be on your shows.
I personally don't have a podcast. I would like to. Yeah, I tried it, but I'm not that technologically savvy to a lot of it. But I'm willing to.
I gotta tell you, Stephen, I started out with Adam when he first brought me on the show as a guest, and then he asked me if I wanted my own show. I said, yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I had no clue what I was doing. And you know what? It's really not that hard. It's just a little bit of, learn, like how you learned your book. Podcasts are just the same.
Yeah, the
Some
trial
words
and
of encouragement.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely. Ashley, I don't know if anyone can hear me because I keep breaking up for some reason. But you've got a suggestion here from Philip. Ashley, Fiverr would be a good place to start for your book.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the chat.
I'll put up in the comment.
Okay. Okay. I will. I'm gonna write that down because
I've used Fiverr.
What
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
Fiverr? What is it? If you don't mind me
It's a
asking.
place where you can hire individuals. They're like all over internationally.
Yeah.
And you hire individuals that will actually do
I don't know.
proofreading, drafting. They do
I'm not
like
an
business
author.
cards for you and book covers. You name it, they do it.
Yeah.
And it's very reasonable price. You can pick and choose. And if it's not terribly expensive.
Yeah.
But I've had pretty good service from it, but I haven't had to use it lately.
That sounds. I'm just pulling it up right now. I'm gonna bookmark it on my page on my web browser so that I could go read and stuff later.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, a question for you all: what triggered you to actually say? Because obviously, me, I just say it as it is. So, what triggered you to say, you know what? I may be feeling shit right now, but I need to kick up my ass. How did you start the journey to say, right, I need to start curing from this, recovering? Who would like to go first?
I'll tell you.
Go ahead, Ashley.
What really kicked me in the butt is when I got out of my coma. Like I had two thoughts that came to my mind because I needed to learn how to walk again, talk again, everything all over again, eat again, drink again, everything. I had the thought of either you could give up and live your life like this, or you could fight with everything you got and make the most out of it. And I chose to fight with everything I had. And thank God I chose that. Even though it's been a very hard, difficult battle, it's been so rewarding. The pros outweigh the cons.
Very good. Yeah.
Well,
I'd like to
with
go
me-
next if
Oh,
possible,
go ahead.
because in case my client shows up.
Yep, go ahead.
So, my kick in the butt, per se, that motivated me was, it was always there, and I always worked on it, but
Yeah.
it was always the focus that I'd be reunited with my children. So, but when I finally had my first meltdown, it was my physical health that was starting to give, that gave me a real kick in the butt, because I was starting to have nosebleeds from my stress. I was having dizzy spells. I had gained, from over 6 years, I had gained 70 pounds. And I felt emotionally a complete wreck. So I basically one morning woke up, and after saying those three things about consequences, responsibility, and facing my fears, I went to three really, really wonderful human being women, best friends of mine, and asked them for their opinion about how I was living my life. And they each, I told them, don't hold back. Tell me exactly what you feel about my situation. And that just kind of, I went, oh, I have to change. And I woke up then. And we lost our Adam. Our host is gone.
He'll be back, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. So Michael, you have a podcast on the Mental Health Warriors?
No, I don't. What I do have is I go live in my Facebook group every week with different subjects and topics that I talk on. Sometimes by myself, sometimes I interview people, and that's how I broadcast, through my Facebook group.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll
Yep.
do that from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So, yeah, but we were talking about like your kind of epiphany moment.
Yeah.
Like I said in my story, mine was when the universe said, "Okay, you're going to get help, and we're going to kick you in the head until you do." But during, like in the middle of all of that, we had an extremely astute minister at the church we were going to, and he actually offered to talk with me. I did not approach him; he approached me because he knew, well, I mean, we told the church, like um, when my older brother died, when my wife's father died, it's like the significant people we were telling the church, and it was like after you tell them three or four, it's like it gets pretty obvious that like you're in a really bad place. So he actually approached me, and that's what started me on this journey of recovery.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting because once we started talking and he started asking me like what I was feeling, because of the way I had grown up, I had no emotional vocabulary. So I really had to start from square one to sort of get the language to describe how I was feeling. So it was a really long road from initially turning to someone to get help to actually being able to pull yourself out of that. And that's one thing that I really want to say too, is like in this mental health battle that a lot of us are in, and at all different stages, it really does make a huge difference if you do it in community with somebody else. Like you said, you went to your friends. I had that minister that reached out to me, and that was the start. I've had several other people that I've had helped me on my journey along the way, but it really does help to get help, and like you said, like you were back in therapy. That's it's the best thing that you can do, is to get help along the way, because as humans, we're social animals. We want to be in community with other people, you know,
Yes.
and this is how we learn and grow. And we can't always see what's going on in ourselves because we're too close to it. You know, I had a coach who described it as standing up in front of a painting, but your nose is like 2 inches away. You're not going to see the whole painting. You have to step back. And that's what being in community with another person helps us to do, to see the bigger picture.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I guess
agree.
it's my turn.
Yep.
Were you done, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, I had my, I don't want to use the bad vocabulary, but I had several butt kickings to get me going. I was, I don't know if I was a resistant person, which yes, I was that, but you know, when you make one mistake, you're not supposed to repeat it. I repeated it several times. I mean, I think one time it started with being in the service, and luckily that turned out okay. I suppose at the time, looking back, I have regrets, but when I worked in New York State Corrections for 19 years, and my third, I think second or third year it was, I was given a choice: either go to rehab for alcohol abuse, or I lose my job. That was the first 2x4 from the universe. I like Michael was saying with the universe, and that worked for a short time, and I stayed sober for, I think I went about 6 or 9 months, and started back up again, and had gone in and out of the tables for a number of years. I think it was just, you know, I didn't have anything to do, so I went to a meeting. So I thought, but I think it was helping me all along. And I think then there was another time when I had gone through a period when my brother died. Michael mentioned I had an older brother who died also from AIDS, and that was very difficult for me. And that was the beginning of the times I was put on medications. I received electric shock therapy. I had gone through a number of things involving treatment that I believe helped me in some ways. I mean, I couldn't quantify it, but it did help. Eventually, I got to the point where I was going through a separation and eventual divorce from my then wife. And that was very hard on me. I had 2 daughters that I loved very much. And when they were small, that was difficult. They were 14 and 12 at the time. I filed for separation. And things got so bad, I just, you know, I thought of suicide. I had come very close at one point. But just before that, I had gotten to my bottom. One of my last bottoms was when I let someone shoot me up with heroin. And
Wow.
that was, I did that once. And when from what I've been told is when you let someone mainline you with heroin, you're lucky if you come out of it alive, if you've never had it before. And excuse me, thinking about that, how close that was. I made it through that. And, you know, when all these kick in the butts that I received, and it took me a long time to get the message, so to speak, I had come very close to suicide. And by the grace of God, the universe, the power that is of all that is, just before I was about to do the deed, the phone rang. And there was a woman from the suicide hotline, believe it or not, who had called me and asked me if I was okay. And I'm thinking, how in the hell did you call at this moment in time?
Divine intervention.
Yeah, well, I had earlier been speaking to a woman from Verizon Telephone who I had sent my payment in, and a bill collector was after me, and he got me really upset. I said I was going to blow my brains out. And this woman at Verizon had the wherewithal to call the suicide hotline and gave her my phone number. There was 2 incidents like that in my life that brought me to what I now have 18 years of sobriety. But it took several 2x4s to the head. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Michael. And it's, well, we all have our stories, and like Michael said, there's some of them intertwine with similar stories. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And yeah, I had to listen to you all, even though we had a comment literally about almost 10 minutes ago. Leanne saying a Greek community makes a huge difference. It does, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're building this community together, because mental health, it's not just UK based, it's a global pandemic, and we need to freaking end this.
And yeah,
And end it
the
together.
world needs to come together again and stop being so like
It does.
isolated.
I agree.
Yeah, it
I
does.
agree.
It does.
Yep.
Well, I go out all the time
Yeah.
and I sell my products at various locations when I'm out doing shows and speaking and events and stuff like that. And the feedback I get is there needs to be more love, kindness, and compassion in the world. Thank you for promoting this. And it's my dream to find somebody who will help finance me to get a little trailer, hook it up to the back of my car, and drive across the country and just talk to people and, get them to get more awareness and participate in watching the show and get talking, because we need that movement. We need like a movement like Me Too, right? I don't follow specifically sexual abuse survivors, and I don't follow women who have survived marital abuse, and I don't follow a specific thing like that, because I fall under so many umbrellas of abuse that I felt that mental health, mental wellness is my stick. I felt that encompasses everything. And when I talk to people, I put it out there. Like, a charity will come up to me. For example, I can't remember the latest one that came up to me and they said, "Oh, would you like to donate to such and such?" And I'm like, I donate to mental health. Any organization I donate to is anything to do that helps people with their mental health. So that means homelessness. It means Salvation Army. It means shelters and so forth and so forth. Yes, it's important to give your money, because I do fundraising for mental health. And it's important to give to the Cancer Society and so forth. But I feel that if you're suffering with cancer, or you're suffering with, let's say, MS, or drunk drivers, mothers against drunk driving, it affects first and foremost your mental health. No matter what it is a human being is suffering with, what is the worst, the symptom, these things are cause the symptoms of mental health issues. Right. So that's where I come from, and that's why I'm so much, my passion is to get out there and talk to people and tell them, you have to get on board. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. You have to be proactive in your mental health. Right? If I sat back and said, "Oh, I'm a victim of incest. Oh my God, my life, blah, blah, blah." Yeah, I was like that. But then, like your phone call that came through, and all the butt kickings we got, that was God trying to tell us, you have to take action, and you have to be the one responsible for your best health. Sorry, I just get very passionate about this.
Yeah.
And that I 100% agree with you, because it's basically like if you play basketball, the ball is in your court, like you get to choose whether you make that shot or you don't.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I see people, they're out there saying, oh yeah, we need more love, kindness, and compassion, and mental health issues looked after. But I always turn it kindly and say, okay, what are you doing about it? Can you tell me what you're doing? Are you out there bringing it forward into the community? What are you doing to bring it forward?
Yeah.
Like I talk to everybody, and I know I might push some people the wrong way because I'm so passionate about it, but I do it very compassionately. And it's like, I have this podcast, please tune in, listen. And a lot of people are like, yeah, but I don't know how many do and how many don't, but I pray that at least, if I've helped one person say, yes, I need to, bring this to the attention of so and so. If one of my best friends, who I lost this past summer to suicide, had tuned in and started listening, he may be still be here today, but he didn't listen. He didn't want to change, and those we can't help.
Yeah.
Well,
You need it, like I was saying, the balls in your court. It all needs to start from internally. Like, you have to know, like, oh, I need help, or oh, not know, but you need to realize that this is not the path that you want to go down. And
Yeah.
I think there wasn't. I think we got 10 minutes, anyways. But I not to have to change the subject, but I wanted to go back to, and I believe it was something that Adam had said earlier in this show. He had asked, when you get into that thought process, keeps you depressed, or the thinking. I think that, like right now, what we're doing, someone out there who may be listening would maybe feel that way right now, where you're saying, like, well, how do I get out of this vicious circle, the cycle of thinking negatively and causing the depression, the thought, the action, the thought, the feeling that comes. That's something that I struggled with even now, when you get into a mode of thinking, oh, I suck. I'm not good at this. Whatever the case may be, what you're telling yourself, those negative thoughts, and what takes you out of that. I remember at one meeting, there was a woman who I was friends with, and she always used to like to say at the meetings, move a muscle, change a thought, which to me, and I think the way she explained it, is get up and start doing something. Go out and help someone else. There was many suggestions that came along in the immediate moment when you're sitting home alone and you're not connecting with the now moment, being in the now. I like to listen to Eckhart Tolle, who talks about being in the now. Do you have any problems right now? Or Byron Katie, who starts having you question: is that true? Am I a jerk, or whatever it is? Is that true? And start questioning. It's critical thinking on yourself, meta-analysis of your thinking. I mean, all of that. For me, it's move a muscle, it's get up and do something, or it's get up and help someone else who needs your help. It's not an easy answer to get you out of that mode of thinking. As I said, I still struggle with it, and
what? I want to just address something. I want to address something. I want to address one of the comments that we've actually got, and it's actually from my good autistic friend Richard, and he basically says, "Kick the politicians out." Now, anyone that knows me knows I'm against the government, but the thing is, though, and I want to really be honest here, be really serious, because I know we have fun, I know we have banter, but when it comes to serious, we get serious. It goes much deeper than the politicians, the MPs, the mental health, whoever. It's all about you. You are your top priority. And it doesn't, you can put all these blame games on all these people, or politicians cause mental health, the media causes mental health, but yeah, they may do. But it's all about how you respond to that. Now, it's not hard just to turn your television off and go and do something. It's not hard to do that. I don't watch mainstream telly. I don't. But the thing is, and the reason why I'm saying this, because obviously with my drawings now, I've got this pad's full. It's literally full of drawings, and that got me through Christmas. Now, anyone that knows me knows I struggle at Christmas and it's hard. So I actually thought, you know what, I want to do something, and I am actually shocked that I actually can draw this good. And now I've actually sold a couple of drawings as well. So yeah, so it's all about how you respond to these situations, because the ball lies with you. If you don't want to watch telly, don't watch telly. If you want to start drawing, you've all got that hidden talent. It's time to get over that fear and just get it out there.
Yeah,
Can I share something about what you?
Yeah, go ahead, Annette.
Oh, can I share something about what you're saying about television? The interesting thing is,
Yeah,
when I was in therapy, one of the main things they tell you to get better is to remove yourself from negative situations. And if you're not agreeing, if you're watching violent movies, if you're watching politicians spew lies, if whatever the case may be, right? Like, I to this day have to fast forward through a movie if there's a scene of rape. I just can't watch it. It's a trigger. So if a politician triggers you, again, I'm coming back to my previous conversation, do something about it. Go out there and do something for your community. Be proactive. Don't sit there and listen to somebody spew lies.
yeah.
That's negative. Go out there and promote something that will help others.
Be the change that you seek, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and I know.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
Go
Go on,
ahead.
Michael. Go on, Michael.
No,
Go ahead, Michael. I've been spewing too long.
Well, I was going to say a lot of people can feel really overwhelmed, especially if their circumstances have been going on for a long time. Like I have an acquaintance who has some physical disabilities and also some mental disabilities, and she at one point in time was just completely overwhelmed. She couldn't keep her apartment clean. There were things that she needed to do that she just couldn't get herself up to do. So she asked me for a bit of advice, and I said, you know what? If you think that your bedroom is dirty, clean one corner. Just clean one corner. That's it. And then tomorrow, keep doing that. Clean something else. You know, if you have dishes in the sink and you don't want them there, wash a dish. Just one. And tomorrow, wash another one. You know, so it's important that you know, we know that it's not these big grand things that you have to do. It's the little actions that we take every single day that are going to help us to move forward.
Agreed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, but you need to build in that consistency. It really is every day.
I totally agree, because I don't know if any of you've seen the video. It's from I think it's Sergeant or something like that, where he basically said, and he gave this speech to these young people. He said, when you wake up in the morning, do not see making your bed as a chore. See it as an achievement, and then be grateful for it.
Yes.
It starts with just making your bed. That's all it starts with.
And granted, it's really hard. Sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
I feel like I've been talking so much, but when I first got out of my accident, I still do it like every once in a while. I would wake up and I realized, like, I'd say, thank you, God, for letting me see another day, and even have something so simple as a breath. Like, many people are taking their last breath while you're taking your first breath in the morning or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gratitude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's also like a good idea to sort of point out that, you know, when you're dealing with mental illness, and you know, like a lot of people are like, well, I never had anything bad happen to me, so you know, I don't see how I have mental illness kind of thing. But the situation that I'm in is like when I talk about my childhood trauma, there was not an event. Like Ashley had her car accident, Annette had the horrible things that happened to her, but they were events. I didn't have any huge event that I can say to and say, yes, that's where my trauma comes from. Mine was, I mean, if you want an event, it's just when I was a small child, my parents had twins. So they had 3 of us in diapers at the same time. They were overwhelmed. But the 2-year-old me that was just sitting in front of them didn't understand that they were overwhelmed. The only thing I understood is that their attention was no longer on me. When I needed it as much as anybody else, it was no longer on me. And kids internalize that. That's where my trauma started.
Yeah.
So, you can have struggles with mental illness, even if there's not something that you can point to and say, yes, that's what caused it. So when you're talking about mental illness and people getting help and looking for answers, it doesn't matter that you haven't been through something traumatic or something, life altering. You still can have issues with mental health.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Michael, my last session that I just had this past week was very enlightening because the counselor, she explained to the group, she said, one person's trauma, put my trauma, for example, versus, say, Stephen's, versus Ashley's and yours and Adam's, does not minimize how our brain receives that information. So the twins coming into your life at that point and your attention removed from your parents is a brain emotional trauma. And she explained it so purely and so kindly. And I was like, I was so happy to hear that, because a lot of times, we're one of the stigmas that really sticks out there with mental illness or mental health is minimization of one person's trauma versus another. Now, if you go to a hospital, and we had this discussion there too, and you break your arm, you go to the trauma unit, right? But it's only recently that they're starting to identify that it's a trauma to our brains when we're not emotionally, our emotional regulation for attention, for food, whatever the case may be, that we lose out on as a child is a trauma.
Yeah. And the Gabor Mate, who I follow, he starts every single talk that he gives with trauma is not what happened to you, it's how you deal with what happened to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a couple of questions from someone that's never been in our lives before. Christ brings a sword. Right, okay. First one, he says, do you think your trauma, I don't know who this is aimed at, by the way, might be the result of living in a sinful world that has no king? Now, if I was to answer that, I'm like, if I want to have a look at a king, I'll look in the mirror. If I want to have a look at a queen, I'll look at my partner. That's how I say it. But I don't know about you lot. I really don't.
I read that too. That was very interesting.
There's another one. Are a woman's feelings more important than a man's right? I'd say really
No.
No. We are human beings.
Yeah. Do I believe world? No, we don't. We don't. In some states, women are more suppressed than men, and vice versa in others. We're here to bring equality back, and that's that. We're not going to stop. And I don't care who comes on these
that's shows. A topic
all
in itself.
Hence why we have shows. That is a topic. That is a topic where we're just going to bring this equality back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Go back
really
on.
talking apples and oranges there with feelings and rights. You know, first of all, who gives you rights? The government gives you rights.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so like, how do feelings fit into that? It's yeah, it's not
Always
really.
remember, and I keep telling this to my partner and my kids as well. Feelings are just the things that you're thinking about, because a
Yeah.
thought is a feeling, and it's all about how you suppress that and how you expand on that, because it's all in the human behavior. Yeah, this is my psychology coming out, by the way, because I'm already studying it, but I'm not a psychologist yet, by the way. But yeah, it's just all about how we respond to these situations. Do we live in a shit world? Yes, we do. But
Yeah. See, I mentor both men and women.
remain
I even
positive,
though
rise above it all. Live
and I'm
life.
sure the you gentlemen also coach both men and women. I mean, there's no bias.
Yeah, same here.
I'm reading a book right now on like childhood
Exactly.
psychology, and I want to go get it because I don't remember the exact title of it, but it's basically saying like everything that like don't like anything that we learned or how we were raised is basically like kind of like wrong, like the new psychology of how they're learning, like how like the cry it out method, like they say that like in the book it says don't do that because it not don't do that, but it just has like a very harsh outcome
Yeah,
on
well,
the
yeah, well. Either way, we'll wrap this up. Um, but obviously, I'm not going to read that other question. Christ brings us on. Should we put men? Should we put men in prison for hurting a woman's feelings? I'm not going to answer that whatsoever. But either way, I think we should wrap this up. Even though I know the viewing figures are increasing, which I think is brilliant. But what should we do to obviously say, right, we have shit days, but what strategy? Because obviously I know what works for some may not work for another. But what strategy worked for you to say, okay, I woke up in a shit mood, but I'm not letting my day be a shit day. I want to start with you, Stephen.
Well, one of the first things came
If that
to
made
my
sense.
head was change change your thought, move a muscle, change a thought. You know, get up and do things. You know, make your bed. Do like Mike was talking earlier, corner of your room, just clean whatever, pick something up. The other thing is, counseling. I still attend counseling when I need it. Um, what was the other thing? Call some. You've got a friend or a um, family friend, a friend, a family member, someone who you trust, who you can talk to if you're having a bad day. Give them a call. Uh, I think meditation is another good idea that helps me in certain situations. I always say I'm into myself. I'm focusing on myself instead of getting to work and doing something, helping others, getting out there to help others. A lot of good suggestions came out of this meeting this evening for you, Adam. And well, that's some of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Annette?
I'm here. What was the
Same
question?
question. Come on.
You have to repeat it. I was in the middle of a chat as I was listening.
Yeah, she always ignores me, but it's okay. No, it's basically what strategy did you implement to obviously say, right, I'm not gonna. I may walk up shit, but I'm not gonna let it impact my day.
My strategy is always to focus on the one thing only that motivates me to keep waking up every day with a smile on my face is that this too shall pass. Everything is impermanent. And it's all for me, it's all about, yes, the present moment. I'm a deeply grateful for Eckhart Tolle for helping me through the power of now and the new earth. And being present, waking up in the morning and putting a smile on your first thing and look in the mirror is like absolutely key. It doesn't matter how the rest of your day goes because it's going to be more positive. I mean, I got a ticket this week and almost nothing frazzles me anymore. Like it's so, my life is so peaceful because I choose to wake up every morning with a smile on my face and treat each day as a new day. Today is a new day. The next day is a new day. It's never about yesterday or the future. It always, for me, is the present moment and to put that smile on my face.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ashley?
For me, it would have to be. I have a tattoo that says "What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger," and then on my back it says "With every heartbeat." Because in my situation, like that relates to my situation and anybody's situation. As long as you're waking up and breathing and you have a heartbeat, you're good. I would think.
Yeah. I wish they would teach that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Michael?
just poke at you a little bit, Adam, but I'm totally in agreement. The school system sucks. The educational system sucks.
Yeah.
But if there is a system that in one day will incorporate teaching positivity, negativity, spirituality versus religion, all of these opposites, so people can make an informed decision from a very young age how the world actually operates. The matrix, the kind, if you want to get into that stuff, that's a whole different topic, but how do we see reality? Because mental health,
you're triggering me, woman. You're triggering me.
Mental health is a form of coming out of all the lessons that we were told as a child, right? Incest, shame, guilt. Oh my God. I just it's about waking up.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
And I don't hate men because of what I experienced.
Me and Annette's
if anything, I have
nice
more compassion for
this, by
people.
The way.
What?
Michael?
I have to be honest, I don't very often
Me
have
and you can have a nice
days.
conversation after this, man.
Yeah.
You don't have what, Michael?
Yeah, I don't very often have shit days because I have trained myself to not really think in terms of good and bad.
I agree with that.
Now I agree, like everything is temporary, and that's kind of one of the ways that I get through the times that I'm feeling not myself and not as good as I should, because I know it's going to change. And action is a big part of that, where if you want to change the way that you're feeling, you need to take action. You need to do something in order to initiate that change.
Yeah.
And I was going to say something else and I lost it.
Don't you hate when that happens? That happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
Well, if it comes to him, he'll probably message it me or bring it up in our show on Thursday.
Yeah, but I mean that's really like the two biggest things the two biggest things is bring some positivity, because as human beings we are wired to think negatively. It's a survival instinct, and as action is initiates,
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's also the theory of be,
Absolutely.
wherever we came from, right? The masculine and the feminine are kind of out of whack, right? Men have been suppressed, women have been suppressed. I mean, if you want to put forth, I've had programs with panels of men and had discussions on how they didn't find the same support that women can get. The prejudice against men that's in around mental health is terrible. And I totally agree that there should be mental health coverage for everybody, regardless of gender or identity, because geez, I just don't like to see anyone suffer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Right, I'm going to wrap this up. Please tune in next week as I'm going solo. I'm going to discuss my story, where I've actually described it as the story of the vulnerable. That's what I've called
That's
it.
great.
And I don't know where that come from, but yeah. I'll see you all later, and please share this.
Thank you.
Please share this all.
Thank
And
you,
obviously
Adam.
Thursday,
Great show.
I'm
Have
on
a
my
great day.
I'd
show.
love meeting you. Please reach out to me,
Okay.
Stephen,
Can
Michael,
you
and
all
Ashley.
just like message me or something?
Yeah, Adam will put us in contact.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got that, Adam?
No.
He's always on the ball.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Yeah,
all.
Hold on, Michael's saying something.
I just want to do a shameless plug.